Hello everyone, today is 8th of September, now it's 15 past 10 in the morning Moscow time. It's a Sunday, so I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend. And because it's a Sunday, usually I had these days later on in the evening traditional Sunday live streams or community chat. Great program, I love that program because it was a unique opportunity to have exchange of opinions in real time. But last Sunday I wasn't able to make this live stream, and today I will have no live stream also because, as many members of our community know, there are some dispute between Russian state institution Roskomnadzor that overlooks or overholds, how should I say, all the communications and YouTube's administration, and therefore before whatever issues they have will be resolved there. Unfortunately, speed of access to YouTube is immensely slow, does not allow me to work on YouTube without VPN. And the last couple of times I tried with VPN to do live stream, and the quality was quite poor. There was constant issue with the buffering, and of course I cannot ask none of you to join the live stream when I know perfectly well that there will be some issues with the buffering. Therefore, I will have no live stream today, but I want to ask you what is your opinion on that, or if you think I should still continue doing this program, community chat on Sundays. I will do so from the next week. I will listen to you, by the way. Please share your opinion on that topic. And well, that's been said. Even though it's a Sunday and usually weekends are slow days, bit slow days news-wise, Russian media still pay attention to quite a number of important developments, obviously, and I will share that news now with you. There was no crucial changes on the line of contact, and therefore I will start with media reporting straight away. And for example, RIA Novosti is reporting that the Russian Defense Ministry confirmed information that Kalinovo settlement is liberated in the DPR, and some members of our community may ask how this is not a crucial development. And I would understand that if Kalinovo was liberated today or yesterday or the day before, but point is that Kalinovo was liberated some week ago, and I reported about it. And since the liberation of Kalinovo, by the way, Russian troops move forward quite a bit. Just take a look at the map, by the way. This is Kalinovo, and all these settlements being liberated after Kalinovo, right? And Russian troops are now on in this direction, on the southern flank of Pokrov sector. Russian troops are basically conducting operations in Selidovo now, in Zhelanное Первое, Lisovka, and so on. So therefore, this is not really surprising news. That's why I'm saying that there was no crucial developments. This settlement was liberated quite time ago, but being a conservative institution, as Russian Defense Ministry is, they're just now confirming this development. Progress of Russian troops in this direction. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Russian armed forces, to be more precise, Russian aerospace forces, conducted a precise strike on the point of concentration of the Kiev regime's reserve forces in the Sumy region, and these reserve forces most likely were preparing to be deployed in the Kursk salient. But well, they're gonna have some changes in the plans because according to Russian Defense Ministry, significant number of units from these reserve forces have suffered heavy losses. No precise information is provided, understandably so, because it's airstrikes, and it's almost impossible to know for sure a number of casualties on the side of enemy. But I mean, if you take a look at the news, by the way, it is clear that Russian aerospace forces conducted strikes on a significant number of units from almost 10 brigades of the Kiev regime: 22nd, 61st Mechanized Brigades, 80th Brigade, 95 Brigade, 1st Brigade of National Guard, 103rd, 106th, 107th, 113th, and 118th Brigades of Territorial Defense. So Russian aerospace forces were very busy neutralizing concentrations of their enemy forces in the Sumy region. RIA Novosti is also reporting about another Russian aerospace forces strike, this time in Nikolaev region, and their target was point of concentration of foreign mercenaries or foreign instructors, by the way. And because this is the southern sectors of the front line, and Nikolaev region is temporarily still under control of Kiev regime. Whenever we are talking about southern sectors, Nikolaev region, Odessa region, usually operations of the Kiev regime, formerly Kiev regime in these areas, are overseen by British military personnel. Lately, French militaries get involved a bit, and therefore, I think during this strike on point of concentration of foreign instructors, probably British militaries and maybe French militaries also have suffered some significant losses. Reports are that significant number of medical vehicles were rushed towards a point of strike, although local underground coordinator of the local pro-Russian underground or pro-Russian partisans, Sergei Lebedev, didn't provide detailed information on number of casualties among mercenaries, although he added that Russian armed forces not just conducted strike on point of concentration of these foreign instructors, but also Russian troops were tracking movement of yet another HIMARS MLRS system, and that system was destroyed also with a precise strike. Let's continue with some other news, and RT is reporting that, well, Washington wants Ukraine's resources, natural resources, according to US Senator. What a revelation. What a revelation, by the way. And you guess which senator this is? Lindsey Graham, by the way. Disgrace of humanity and the shame of Republican Party. I truly don't understand why leadership of Republicans don't kick this individual out of the party, because he is destroying reputation of the Republicans, by the way, worldwide. I'm quite sure there are many people, by the way, that are sympathizing at least with some of their principles of the and policies of the Republican Party, especially when it comes to protection of the traditional values, family values, and so on. But when you have in the party such individuals like Lindsey Graham, that is clearly a disgrace of humanity, I mean, you are losing big time. You are losing big time, and I believe inside the US also, because many US citizens probably will have trouble to support Republican Party while they know that there is such a people like Lindsey Graham in that party. And this is a moral issue that many people cannot overcome. I mean, they cannot vote for a party that has this kind of individuals in it. If I was a US citizen, I would struggle to vote for Republicans exactly because this type of individuals in the party. I mean, I can understand no one is angel, by the way, nobody is perfect, but I mean, Lindsey Graham is whole another level of disgrace, man. Anyways, let's go through this news here. So, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham has openly said Washington needs Ukraine's natural resources and that therefore military aid to country must continue until Kyiv is able to win its conflict with Russia. And just how delusional this criminal also is. The South California Republican, one of their top backers of the Kyiv within the US establishment, made the remarks on Friday in Kyiv, speaking alongside local so-called leader Vladimir Zelensky. He praised the Ukrainians and their purported resolve to fight Moscow no matter what, noting that this means that Americans themselves don't have to do this, only to provide their weaponry. First of all, why should Americans fight with Russia? I mean, let's start from here. Why these sick individuals think that US and Russia should be enemies? US and Russia should be allies, if you ask me. And there is so many topics, so many major issues in this world that can be resolved with cooperation between Moscow and Washington. Why should these two countries be in hostile position towards each other? And if you are a politician, if you are thinking about best interests of your people, your fellow citizens, how you are advocating for further hostilities with another major nuclear superpower, and by doing so endangering your own fellow citizens. I mean, this individual is full of crap, man. This Lindsey Graham, as I said, is despicable individual, man. Disgrace for humanity. And then quote, by the way, Ukrainians are sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals that could be good to our economy. So I want to keep helping our friends in Ukraine. We can win this. They need our help, Graham stated. So yet again, man, if US had the proper leadership and Washington and Moscow cooperated, whatever minerals are in Ukraine, or whatever natural resources or whatever potential, that could be useful for the entire world without any wars, right? This conflict should never be provoked by Western ruling class. Never. And yet again, I mean, does it only for me looks strange that Lindsey Graham is too often visits Kiev? Maybe it's worth for US FBI or whoever institutions are conducting intelligence operations, and whatever institutions are providing anti-corruption operations, maybe they should look into dealings of the Lindsey Graham, really, because he is almost every other week in the most corrupt country in Europe, or one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Well, I wonder why. But anyways, I mean, Lindsey Graham basically said they're quite part out loud once again, and unfortunately he is not alone. He is backed by significant number of criminals, influential criminals in US, I guess. Let's continue. RT is reporting that Trump pledges to scale back US sanctions. Interesting. Republican President nominee Donald Trump has promised to drastically reduce the use of sanctions by the US if he wins the election in November. During an appearance at the Economic Club of New York on Thursday, Trump was asked if he plans to strengthen or modify Washington's economic restrictions on Russia and other countries. And then, quote, by the way, Trump replied on that I want to use sanctions as little as possible, he replied, explaining that there is a problem with the extensive reliance on such penalties by the US, because ultimately it kills your dollar and our dollar, and it kills everything the dollar represents. It is important for the dollar to remain the international reserve currency, the former president insisted. If we lost the dollar as a world currency, I think that would be the equivalent of losing the war. That would make us a third world country, and we cannot let it happen, he stated. Well, difficult to disagree, by the way. Difficult to disagree in this particular on these particular statements with the Trump, but it was Trump, isn't it, that imposed biggest number of sanctions on Russia since the end of Cold War, right? So, I mean, he's making right statements. Definitely, these sanctions that US is imposing on the countries left and right hurts not just those countries, not just the world economy, but hurts US itself. So many countries are now pushed away from their dollar as a world reserve currency, and it is obvious, by the way, it is obvious that this due to this extensive use of sanctions, I will say illegal sanctions, two blocks, economical blocks are forming now in this world. One is a smaller collective West economical bloc, and on the other side, significantly bigger rest of the world's economical bloc. And there are talks, by the way, in BRICS, obviously, about creation of alternative financial and banking systems, and the process is underway. Bilateral trade between BRICS member states and between many countries in this world more often are done with the currencies of these countries or with some other currencies from BRICS member states. Chinese yuan is dominating in this field and will increase its share in foreign trades between the other countries, obviously, because China is not acting like US does. Chinese leadership is trying to protect their own interests, while US leadership, US political class, they are destroying US from within. And it's a huge difference, isn't it? Huge difference. So Trump definitely has a point, and I think at this point, process of de-dollarization is unstoppable, and at one point, dollar will undergo devaluation, how say it in English, devaluation, and after some time it will stabilize and it will be just local currency for US. But there is no way in 15-20 years time dollar still gonna maintain position of number one world currency. It's just not happening. Too late for that, really. Although, yet again, statements from Trump clearly are understandable. US being hurt big time, and Western economies, by the way, in general, being hurt big time by this sanction war, when they are imposing like astronomical number of sanctions on countries whenever they have any disagreement, which is crazy, by the way. I mean, responsible political leadership, responsible political class should not act that way, but tell this to Western ruling elites. And by the way, there is a response on statements of Trump from former Russian president and current deputy chairman of the Security Council, Dmitry Medvedev. And he believes that anti-Russian sanctions will stay until US will collapse. So wide-reaching sanctions on Russia will remain in place no matter who wins the US presidential elections in November. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said, I agree with him 100%. It does not make any difference if it's a Trump in office or Kamala Harris. Even more sanctions will be imposed on Russia. Just mark my words, by the way. Earlier this week, Republican president nominee Donald Trump pledged to use sanctions as little as possible if he makes a return to the White House. In a Telegram post on Sunday, Medvedev insisted that Trump's comment does not mean he will lift their penalties in force against Moscow. For all his apparent bravado as an outsider, Trump is ultimately an establishment insider. Yes, he is an eccentric narcissist, but he is also pragmatist. The official who now serves as deputy chair of the Russian Security Council said, the former US president understands that the sanctions harm the dollar's role as an international reserve currency, but for him it is still an insufficient reason to stage a revolution in the US and go against their anti-Russian line of their notorious deep state, which is much stronger than any Trump, Medvedev argued. As for Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris, one should not expect any surprises from her. If she wins the election, Medvedev predicted, she is inexperienced and, according to her enemies, just plain stupid. Beautiful, meaningless speeches and boring, correct answers to questions will be prepared for her, which she will read off the teleprompter while laughing constantly, he said. The former Russian president noted that the Soviet Union was under sanctions from the most of the 20th century. Now Russia is facing similar treatment from the US and its allies, but on a much larger, unprecedented scale, he added. So it is sanctions forever, or rather until the US collapses during an imminent new civil war. After all, Hollywood makes films about this for a reason, Medvedev wrote. He appeared to be referring to the recent Civil War movie directed by Alex Garland, which tells the story of the team of war reporters traveling across America to interview the president, aimed fighting between the federal government and the Texas and California led secessionist movements. Well, interesting comments, by the way. Interesting comment from the Medvedev. I watched this movie partially. I could not watch it entirely. Civil War. It was strange to see this view of director that somehow California and Texas end up being allies. It does not make any sense in real life. But anyways, jokes aside, when it comes to major points of the Russian president, I mean, can you argue with him? Does he has a point? Of course he does. Of course he does. Deep state is, as the Medvedev noticed, by the way, deep state in US, these shadow forces are much stronger than Trump or anybody else in US, any single person. And therefore, even if Trump wants to do some changes, even if Trump is realizing that it is more beneficial for US interest, for example, to be allied with Russia, he's not going to be able to achieve this, by the way. They will kill him. They tried to kill him once. They might try it again. Because can you imagine how much money being made by deep state, by military industrial complex, by other influential forces on this proxy war against Russia? We are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars, right? And you think they're gonna lose this constant flow of money just because leader of the nation wants to keep good relationships with the countries that will eventually benefit both sides? No, they're gonna take him out. If Trump will really try to normalize relationships with Russia and other countries worldwide, by the way, because why US should be so aggressive towards everybody, man? Why? It harms US more than benefits, right? But anyways, man, let's continue. And before I do so, let me notice, dear friends, that this small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram is completely subscriber funded. It's thanks to you, dear friends, that I'm able to continue this work in this field of news and political commentary. And I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider, if you are new to community, for example, and will also consider to support my work. You can do it with a donation through PayPal or Boosty platform. By the way, this is a Boosty platform which become essential to me after I was cancelled on Buy Me a Coffee due to my Russian citizenship. And this platform is very convenient to me and for creators, by the way, because when you donate, you send a certain amount to the platform, to my project here, and this platform automatically does exchange of currencies from whatever currency to Russian rubles and transfers it to my bank account. So it is convenient. And also you can subscribe, by the way, on my page on Boosty. That's why this platform is quite unique, that you can donate through this platform and you can also subscribe, because I have plenty of bonus videos here. Plenty of bonus videos, and these videos, this extra content, going to be more and more as time goes by. And also you can subscribe, of course, on my Patreon page, which is much more developed, because I'm working on Patreon page for a much longer time than on Boosty. Although later on I'm sharing my new videos, extra content on both platforms, by the way. I really hope our community on Patreon will reach 200 before end of this year, so that this project no longer will be in a zone of constant fight for survival. And on Boosty, by the way, I only have 10 subscribers. So I would be happy to see more subscribers on Boosty also, of course. Because you never know, you never know. My channel can be blocked on YouTube at any time. And only ways of communication we'll have is Rumble, by the way. Will be Rumble, Telegram, Patreon and Boosty, and my page on X. Although, by the way, lately Telegram and X, formerly Twitter, is also are under heavy pressure. And who knows, in number of countries those platforms can be blocked at any time. Anyways, dear friends, all the links to my PayPal, Boosty, and the Patreon are under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And subscription on Patreon, monthly subscription starts from $5, and when you open the page, you can just choose level of subscription that you can provide. And on Boosty, subscription starts with from 500 rubles, which is a little more than $5, about $6 with current exchange rate. All the links, as I said, on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. That's been said, let's continue with some other news. And I just mentioned, by the way, that certain platforms can be blocked worldwide in number of countries. Maybe not worldwide, but in number of countries. And we have this report that top German MP threatens X, formerly Twitter, and also Telegram with the bans. So Germany must act to stop dissemination of their extremist content online and block major social media platforms if necessary. A senior MP from their country's Green Party has stated. Why this Green Party in Germany is so destructive, by the way? I mean, what is wrong with them? Really? I don't know, man. But when they have a leader like Baerbock, by the way, what you expect? Intellectually, these people are probably like next to zero, MP Anton Heffreiter, the chairman of the Bundestag's European Policy Committee, made remarks on Saturday while speaking to reporters from Funk Media Group. The politician called for tighter control over social media, up to their outright blocking of the certain platforms. One of the biggest problems, and then quote, by the way, one of the biggest problems of extremism is online radicalization. Hofreiter stated, adding that their dissemination of their anti-constitutional content on the internet must be stopped. We need to tackle the root of the problem and push back radicalization in the digital space as well as in society. He stressed, and dear friends, you noticing pattern here, isn't it? These criminals, these so-called politicians in the number of countries, are using similar wording. They're gonna fight radicals, they're gonna fight extremism, and therefore they have no care about a vast majority of their users on those platforms. They have no care about rights of vast majority of the good people that are using these platforms, right? They have to, take care of these radicals, extremists, and therefore they have to ban entire platforms. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? But this is the narrative that they are pushing. That they are not against freedom of speech or expression, but they have to tackle these radicals, imaginary radicals, man. That's how many radicals are on Twitter X, by the way. Who are those radicals? Are radicals on YouTube? I can understand that crazy people are everywhere, right? and crazy people can use any platform. Is it correct? So why these so-called politicians are focused on the platforms that they have no full control over? Telegram, X, formerly Twitter, Rumble. Why these platforms are always under attack? But not to YouTube, not to Facebook, not to WhatsApp, or what is their Facebook's other this platform? Whatever, man. I'm not using those platforms, and I forgot the names of that. Instagram and that kind of stuff, right? Why they are never attacking those platforms, but only ones that they have issue to control? It's a legit question, isn't it? And this definitely highlights true motives of these criminals. They want to silence people. They don't care about radicals. They use radicals to push whatever narrative they want. And maybe secret services in a number of countries are creating the groups to pretend to be these crazy radicals and creating some channels, some groups, and spreading some crazy statements, so that this type of criminals, like this German so-called MP, then will push narrative that, look at this, man, we cannot allow this to happen, we have to block the entire platform now. That's what they do, by the way. This is unprecedented, in my opinion. Of course, I did not live like 100 years yet, but in my 46, 47 years, I have never seen this level of assault on freedom of speech and expression as it is happening right now in the Western world, by the way. I mean, you tell me if you agree with me or not, but that's my impression observing all these developments. On daily basis, by the way, there are reports that this country is having a problem with this platform or that platform. Mainly it's X, by the way, Twitter X, Telegram, and Rumble. Usually these platforms are under heavy attack, right? That are not yet fully controlled, at least by establishment. Anyways, let's continue. Zliad newspaper is reporting that Iran, by the way, Iran's leadership wants to transfer capital from Tehran to the Persian Gulf, one of the cities on the Persian Gulf, or maybe a new city will be built on the Persian Gulf. And this was stated by newly elected president of Iran, Pezeshkian, which is interesting because statements about transfer of their capital towards the south, towards the Persian Gulf, was made there before also. But I guess this is first time when president is lobbying this initiative. And well, maybe that's what we are about to see, transfer of their capital of Iran from Tehran to some southern city on the Persian Gulf, or maybe yet again, maybe new city will be built. And this is a trend, by the way. In the last 20-30 years, quite a number of countries did the same. Move the capital to new areas, and by doing so, create other additional economical boom in those regions, right? So it might work very well, and the logic behind this move is that right now around Tehran is many industrial facilities are created, manufacturing facilities, and if capital will be moved towards south, then probably some manufacturers, some businesses will follow. They will move towards the south. Economical activity will be higher than in these southern areas, which benefits them greatly, because all the energy generation of Iran is based on south, right? Right now, for example, fuel needs to be transferred to Tehran from south, then some this fuel generating energy, some goods are produced, and these goods are moving back to south and they are much expensive that they could be if they were produced on the southern side of southern parts of Iran. And this transfer will make Iranian goods more cheaper, not just for internal market, but Iranian goods will be more competitive on the world market also. So economically speaking, this definitely does make sense. I'm not quite sure if I explain good enough what is the motivation behind this initiative, but it will work. I believe it will. It does make sense at least. So let's see, maybe in next 5 to 10 years time, Iran will have a new capital. Interesting move, and not at all surprising. Many members of our community, of course, know, all of you, by the way, know perfectly well that, for example, former Soviet Republic, Kazakhstan, basically build new capital, right, in Astana. Previously, capital was Almaty, biggest city in the Kazakhstan, but they moved capital northwards, and Astana is, I mean, from what I see, I never been there, but from what I see, it's wonderful developing city. So it was a successful move, I will say. Kommersant newspaper is reporting, and it was not just economical reasons behind this move from Nazarbayev's government at the time, but I will not dig in that topic. But it is what it is, man. This kind of stuff happens when capital is moved. Even in Russia, by the way, quite often are talks to move Russian capital towards Siberia somewhere, towards Urals mountains, or even Far East, because it will generate additional economical boom in that area. So time to time, some politicians, some public figures here also are speaking about moving capital from Moscow to some other regions of the country. I don't think it will happen, but who knows, man? Who knows? Anyways, let's continue. Kommersant newspaper is reporting that Argentina is, you know what? Let me translate this news, by the way. Basically, Argentina is asking ICC to issue arrest warrant on Maduro. So Argentina's government has called on the prosecutor of their International Criminal Court, so-called International Criminal Court, ICC, to ask the pre-trial chamber to issue arrest warrant for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, citing actions that could be considered their crimes against humanity. Okay, Argentina, this Milei is getting crazier and crazier. Instead of making good relationship with the neighboring countries in South America, in regional countries in South America, he is escalating. First, he destroyed relationships with BRICS. Now he is escalating with regional countries. What is wrong with this guy, man? He gonna destroy Argentina, man. Give him another couple of years, and probably nothing will save Argentina, man. It's a shame. It's a shame. But yes, I mean, situation, by the way, in Latin America is also quite tense, and unfortunately, many countries are in hostile positions towards each other. Unfortunate, truly unfortunate. But I guess this is happening not without involvement of their U.S. secret services, because divide and conquer was and always will be one of the major slogans or of those groups in US, that or Western ruling class in general, by the way. That's what they do, divide and conquer, right? And it is sad to see that in South America countries are not on a good term. Anyways, let's continue. RIA Novosti's report. And of course, by the way, when it comes to ICC, you should expect anything from that criminal organization. I don't see that group as a true court. It's a international criminal organization led by Western ruling class, and therefore whatever Western ruling class wants, that's exactly the decision that ICC will come up with. And maybe this time they order their puppet Milei in Argentina to come up with this initiative, so that ICC will formally react on Argentina's initiative, not the direct order from the Western ruling class. I mean, these cheap games, by the way, they play, I mean, they think they are too clever, isn't it? And we cannot understand what they are doing. But, you know, RIA Novosti is reporting that Russia increased their exports of their metals into Brazil 1.5 times, 150% basically, which is good, which is significant. Since the creation of BRICS, by the way, relationships between BRICS member states are constantly on rise, economical relationships first of all, and we are clearly seeing now how beneficial BRICS really is for their businesses and economies of the member states. No wonder why so many countries, dozens of countries, want to join the BRICS. RT is also reporting that Russian gold reserves approach a historic landmark, which is also interesting, and I will end this update on this news. So Russia's holdings of gold have reached a new height of 188.8 billion, and bullion's share in the country's international reserves now exceeds 30% for the first time in almost a quarter century, according to central banks. So overall, by the way, Russian international reserves are 613 billion US dollars. Of course, these reserves are in different assets, not necessarily dollars, but if we translate it into dollars so that it's more easily understandable, then overall Russian foreign assets are, international reserve assets are 613.7 billion, and gold is almost 30% there. On gold comes almost 30%, 188.8 billion, which is great, by the way, which is great. Russia should definitely continue to increase gold reserves, because it's a forever currency, by the way, right? It's a forever currency, man. No matter how long, how many years or centuries are gonna pass, gold was a gold and is a gold. I'm not big fan of this metal, to be honest. I don't like its color. I don't like nothing about it, really, with the exception of creation of the gold, history of creation. And gold is created, of course, as a result of explosion of the during the supernova, right? During the explosion of the suns, as far as I know, astrophysics, and that is interesting. Rest, I don't really care about gold that much, but it is a good stuff to invest in, right? And demand on gold is constantly increasing, and well, I guess Russian central bank is doing something right, and it does make all the sense, by the way, to have more and more reserves into assets that you are mainly in control of, and have forever value, right? So interesting, by the way, interesting, isn't it, that despite all this sanction war on Russia and all this pressure, foreign reserves are over 600 billion here, and in this 600 billion, gold takes a share of almost 200 billion, 188 billion. I guess before end of this year, it will be 200 billion, maybe more. And yes, this is it for now. Relatively long update, but hopefully you will find it interesting, informative, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary. This is the only way we can at least try and deal with the algorithm, especially on YouTube. Unfortunately, yesterday and day before yesterday, algorithm was smashing my updates, and not that many people, I guess, receive notification or see my videos in recommendations. But I mean, we can keep try. So you know, if you can, please click that like button and leave some commentary, just about anything. Even if you say hello, will do. And yes, for very same reason, if you can please share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet, on any of the platforms that you are actively using. And finally, if you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment, or PayPal, Boosty, Patreon, and also crypto wallet, by the way. If you are good with crypto, then I have a wallet there. So this is it, I guess. Once again, have a great day, and take care. See you tomorrow.